Hello, viewers. I have the honor today to introduce you to the new kid on the block, a very beautiful lady, Miss Pricilla Stone, aka Quantum Witch. Now, Priscilla, I am very excited for you to be on my show because today I feel we are going to have a little bit more of a spiritual experience on the UAP topic, and I'm eager to talk to you about that. But maybe tell us a little bit more about you. The first thing I need to know is Quantum Witch. How did you come up with that? And please do explain.
Okay, well, it's pretty simple. I've read about a lot of strange things since I was literally able to read. I was a weird kid. I'd go get my grandma's encyclopedias back when we had encyclopedias, and I'd Google all sorts of different spirituality things and religions and UFOs. And she was a medium, so there was some definite like spiritual work happening in the house. She did cards, just a very open environment with my grandma. And as I got into life, I realized.
Oh, hello, Priscilla. I think Priscilla dropped out.
Are we frozen? I
Okay,
see you.
I see you too now.
Okay, can you hear? Did it freeze? Okay.
It froze a little bit. Maybe
Okay.
maybe the viewers, which one of us froze? Because if it is me,
I saw.
well.
Well,
Anyways,
we'll just keep going. Anyway, people keep asking, like, oh, well, they have like an identity as far as a witch goes. They're like, I'm a green witch, I'm an eclectic witch, I'm an old school. There's all these different types of witches, and I've always been to physics and science and all that stuff. So I was like, magic is just physics, and magic is operating on a quantum level in quantum mechanics, and that's just what I believe. I can't prove it, obviously, or I'd be probably more known than now. But yeah, so that's what I think. I think that magic, definitely what we call magic, has a scientific basis, and we just can't explain it yet. And the quantum world and all those minuscule particles keep getting smaller and smaller, and then we dive into like, where's our consciousness? And that's where magic operates as well. So I'm a firm believer that all these will be answered one day when we have the better measuring instruments.
right. By the way, Josh, UAP UK, thank you for your support. He's also a up and comer, and talked to him yesterday, so check it out on my channel. And he's a fan of you too, Priscilla. I know that for a
Yeah.
fact.
Hey Josh, hey Vinnie, I see you both. Yeah,
Yes,
Josh and
Vinny.
I had the same shirts on yesterday, except for mine was pink and his was yellow.
Oh,
But I mean,
spirit
like,
animals.
yep, I didn't join because the zoo house was happening. But
Yeah. You have a couple of kids.
oh yeah, loud.
Yes, yeah. I know the feeling. I have just one, but he counts for five. Um, So Vinny might join us in a bit,
Right.
which is also always a lot of fun. I see my Dutch buddy Wilfred is in the house.
Hey, I talked to him too. Hey, Wilfred.
Okay, so let's elaborate a little bit on your science, because you make the connection between magic and science, right?
Yes, I mean, in my own head, yes. So there's no proof, obviously, but
But there's a bit of a scientist in you, right? You have a little bit
yes.
of a background. Can you maybe elaborate on that a little bit?
Absolutely. So I did hair for 10 years, and the intention to do hair was so that I could do hair while I was going to school for microbiology. I wanted to be a nurse. And then the more I learned about microbiology, the more I loved molecular biology. So I attended a couple community colleges, and then finally got into like, a major university in Alaska, University of Alaska Fairbanks, where I had an internship through University of Fairbanks that was partnered with Alaska State Virology. So in that sort of schooling, I pretty much needed one more year, and then I had the baby, and then I was like, I want to stay with the baby. But during that training, I had my own little scientific poster. You had to do real research. You weren't allowed to submit a paper with unless you had 25 to 30 what are they called, sources. So I'm familiar with trying to find, like, yeah, I found it here and that sounds great, but I need to read it like in like 20 more places in order to make it kind of like a little more cohesive.
Yeah. So you said you went to school in Alaska.
I did, yes.
So how was that? Because I'm fascinated with Alaska. It's probably Anchorage where you went to school, right?
Actually, no, interior. So I went in Fairbanks. There is a University of Fairbanks and University of Alaska are the same university, like just under one umbrella, but there's two
Mm.
main campuses. So I attended in Fairbanks because my husband was stationed at Fort Wainwright in Alaska.
Right. Were you at that time already interested in the UAP or the UFO subject?
So I was, and I've been interested. I saw my first UFO when I was in kindergarten, so I
Oh,
was
let's
interested. You know.
let's stop the presses. We are going to talk about that. We are going to talk about that right now. Let's go. You saw your
Okay.
first UFO.
Okay, well, I lived in Phoenix in a not so good area. There was a lot of gang activity behind us. We weren't allowed to play in the front yard, but I would sneak out at night to look at stars. And then my grandma would watch all these crazy, like, well, we grew up obviously with all the nerdy, like, sci-fi shows and movies. And then she watched this
X-Files.
X-Files all the way, and everybody made fun of me, like, once I got older for watching it. But she was definitely into, there was like a show Sightings, Unsolved Mysteries, anything like that. So I would always go outside, and I just had like a feeling that I would see something, and I was looking for two things: shooting stars and UFOs. And I know this is kind of early, but I was kind of like always like the old soul as far as the kids goes. I wasn't like carefree, like let's do cartwheels, you know.
Now you were
So
in kindergarten, so you
I'm
were
pretty
about 4
sure,
years old. 4 years
yeah,
old.
5 in the States we go at 5. So I was 5, and I remember that because I tried to tell I went to a Catholic school. I tried to tell
So
Sister
did I.
Teresa, yeah. Oh, jeez. So we had the teacher, Sister Cecilia. I tried to tell her that I saw this thing in the sky, but so that's why I remember, because it was like an ordeal. Like they talked to my parents and everything. But yeah, I went outside one night, was stargazing, and I saw, similar to what you saw, 3 like lights just like turned on slowly, and then they started rotating together off to the right, and they did that about 3 times before finally coming down and then back up, and then they just all like lined and like took off.
That is almost exactly what I
Yeah,
saw.
that's when I saw your thing. I was like, dude, like that's like my first, yes, that's why I
That
messaged you.
yeah, yeah, that's nuts. By the way, you and me, we have more in common, but we'll tell about that later. um, no, so the only thing I didn't see was that the alignment, that they went
Yeah.
into a straight line. I just saw the triangle formation rotating and then just one light up and shoot down, right?
Yeah, I saw that in the video. That was cool.
Yeah. So I had Andy, New York UAP Disclosure. He made a great slow motion video about that, and he analyzed it. It was pretty interesting. But I'm gonna send him the rest of my raw footage too. I feel like he can, yeah, make more out of that. So okay, so as a kid, you saw that.
Yeah.
Did you then know what it was, or did you have a feeling of what it was?
I had a feeling, and I kind of like, there was like this weird knowing, like I knew I was a little girl, and I was like, they're doing this for me, because they're like spinning around, and it was just freaking cool. And then I went inside and I told my grandpa, and he's like, you need to be in bed. Like, you're not supposed to be up and about. Like, I snuck out before like my grandma finds out. But I told him, and I told my grandma. They told me not to tell my mom. But when I told the teacher at school, she was like, I need to talk to your parents. So then everybody was like, that's not real. You can't be making things up like that. We had like not like a principal's office. I was in kindergarten, but I had like a sit down, like we had to talk about lying. And so I
Yeah.
was like, this was like the coolest thing I've ever seen. Like, I've been waiting to see something in the sky, whether it be, I just loved stars. I just loved, like, I'd be a weirdo. I'd be like, they're just like staring straight up until somebody made me come inside, basically.
I haven't told anyone this up until now, but I was on a holiday with my son last week. We have a cabin in the woods in the south of Holland, which is a really beautiful wooded area. And this cabin, it's surrounded by other cabins, but it is really in the woods. But these night skies are very, very bright. And I put the couch out and I went to sit down with my son. And together we watched the stars, and he was exactly expecting what you expected as a 5-year-old. He's 5 too.
Oh,
Yeah. He was looking for falling stars and UAPs.
that is so sweet. I love that. I feel like I always see him on your channel and like, you know, popping in and out. But like the pictures you post of him, he's just you can tell he's just like a sweet, I'm going to sound like a super hippie right now, but like he has a sweet energy about him in the pictures. And you know, a lot of kids do, but it's like he's very curious. Like his eyes are very curious.
He's a free spirit. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But also, which was really funny, it was of course close to a military base. So actually a real legitimate military plane flew over. And immediately I said, oh, yeah, that's a plane. And he was like, no, Dad, no, that's a UFO. Me and you, we saw a UFO. And I was like, okay.
Oh my God, kids are hilarious like that. He's
Yeah.
correcting you. We were driving one day and the top of my car has like my little suburban mom car has like a glass roof that you can open and close. And my 4-year-old's looking up and he's like, look, Mom, I see a red UFO, and his imagination's going. I'm like, do I need to pull over? Like, are you really saying something? And I'm all taking him seriously. And then in the background, my 2-year-old just started talking. He goes, airplane. But he says airpeam. So he's all airpeam. I was like telling Josh, I was like, do I have like a Mick West and a George Knapp on my hands here?
So a 2-year-old West. That's hilarious. Oh my God. Yeah, that's so illustrative of like the whole community on Twitter.
It is, yeah. So I was like, Halloween costumes, maybe? Can I make one be Jeremy Corbell and put a you know like
Yeah. Put on your jiu-jitsu outfit.
Oh my
No, he's actually a legitimate fighter, that guy.
Really? I did not know that.
He's a black belt. Yeah.
Oh, I won't mess around. I only got to green, so I'm not gonna make fun of anybody.
Look, on the ground, I can't do much. I'm gonna start taking lessons in that shit. So, but anyways, what I wanted to ask you too is you explained to me you're both Native American and Mexican, right?
Yes.
Is there? This is what I've always been curious about. How connected are you with Native American culture, and was there something about UAP or UFO explained in that culture, or something they saw in the skies?
Well, it's really interesting because I've been trying to find a lot about that. So my dad's side, when they were kids, they left the reservation, so they were kind of starting to be removed from the culture, and then they converted to, you know, they were Catholic or Christian. So by the time I came into the picture, they were kind of more Americanized. But one of my aunts is really involved in the community again. So I'm trying to ask her, you know, is there any stories about the sky? Our creation story is our tribe came out of the ground, which is kind of interesting because, you know, a lot of came from the sky. So I've been able to find a couple things, but I know that our tribe is like one of the smaller tribes, and a lot of it is kind of word of mouth stories. And there's some stories that they'll only tell males and females, because she invited me to this thing. She's like, if you're in town in Arizona, then you can come to this. It's only for females because they only pass certain stories down. So I have a feeling eventually they'll be documented, but I have not found any about sky people, which is interesting because a lot of, you know, other tribes have, they had to explain it some way. So I'm sure there's something, I just haven't been able to find it yet.
Yeah. Well, that would be very interesting because I think I saw some of it online. I do think there are accounts because people think like Native Americans are just one culture. No, it's not. It's all kinds of cultures, and they have all kinds of different experiences, or the way they experience life and the sky and whatever there's around them. But I do think there are some Native American cultures who do have accounts of UAP, and they actually, you know, there's anecdotal heritage with that. I'm not sure how it works. I think it's mostly anecdotal or through song.
Yes.
Something like that. Now, let's talk about the spiritual side of UAP and consciousness, because I think you have something to say about that, and so do I, because I do feel instinctively and also I've observed that I think that whatever we notice in the skies is very connected to consciousness. Now, how do you feel about that?
100% agree. I know people are like, oh, you want to put, anthropomorphic terms on these things. We don't know what they are. But how on earth can you, in physics, realize that we're embedded in all these different levels of reality? And of course, that's theory too. But how can you believe that, but not believe our consciousness is also interwoven with all these things? And how do we, there's all this matter in between us we can't describe, right? So this goes kind of towards like the witchy side, and it's called the law of hermetics. Everything vibrates, and they find that's an old school hermetic principle. And then we find out that everything does vibrate, everything acts in a certain way. And how on earth are we not going to think something or put something out there and have it not affect consciousness other places?
Now, can you explain to me what do you mean with vibrate?
So the hermetic principle is that everything vibrates, but you have to think in terms of, to me, a vibration is something that kind of creates a wave, right? Well, now we
Right.
know that electrons are a particle, but they're also a wave, and then everything smaller and smaller actually operates on different wavelengths. So to me, when I try to explain it to people, it's almost like a spider web. And this kind of like plays in with entanglement as well. Like the female spider, I don't know why I said female, but there's a spider on the side of a web, a fly lands and it vibrates through.
Right.
I really believe that's how our consciousness works. And I think that is a lot of why people do these meditations to make contact, even before the whole CE5 term. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People would go out there, they had a connection with the sky gods, and they had to find a way to communicate with them. And it all goes back to prayer. It all goes back to the spoken word. Our words also create vibrations. So you have to think deeper than that. Like, how on earth are our thoughts not doing it when our brain is firing all these electrical, currents, and we're basically these little electrical conductors that are mostly space. So that means everything else is too. And we're all in this sea of electromagnetic interaction and vibration.
Yeah, well, I do agree with you because this touches down actually with my Jewish culture, my Jewish heritage. Um, I don't know if you're familiar with Kabbalah.
A little
I've been
bit, yes.
I've been boring some people with it, but
It's not boring at all. But it's very deep. You have to be ready to hear it.
right. But it's ancient Jewish mysticism, and the Judaism is the first monotheistic religion, but it's even from before that. People who eventually became the Jews used to believe in multiple gods, and were very connected to nature. So Kabbalah is basically it still has a little bit of the shamanism in it, right? So according to Kabbalah, I think the best comparison would be, and this is crazy that I'm using this metaphor for you, is the film Avatar, because the symbol of Kabbalah is the tree of life, right?
Yes.
So in the film Avatar, I presume you've seen it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So the most holy place for the blue people, the blue beings, is their tree of life. And this is exactly what Kabbalah is, because it shows you that as a human being, you're basically a tree too, right? So to keep you standing above ground, there's roots underground, but you don't know, you can't see those roots, and you don't know where they go or where they're from. But it keeps you up straight in hard weather, and for some reason you need those roots. But what it actually means is, in Judaism, is your roots are, for example, you're a female, you're Native American, you were born in Phoenix, your mom is Stephanie, your dad is John, whatever. You were born in a certain part of the world, but these roots that are keeping you standing up. about some of those roots, right? You know who your parents are, but you don't know who you know who their parents are, but maybe not their parents and their parents and their parents. So whatever your roots are, it's something that makes you. And it's not only just you, it's your connection to everything. You know, the place where you live, the universe, nature, the animals. It goes so much beyond. So basically, that's Kabbalah. It's the connection, the energy sharing with anything and everything in the past, in the future. It's all connected. So that's what I feel. You know, it's very hard to comprehend, but I feel there's something there.
I totally agree, and I've dabbled in Kabbalah, and it's just so it's very deep, and you have to actually study it to understand it. But it's interesting that, you know, you say it keeps us up, like a tree is upright, and then our tree of life keeps us upright. That also overlays with chakra systems and the sushumna that connects us to earth and sky
Right.
and creates that balance. And that also connects with another hermetic principle, as above, so below. And, you know, so it's literally like, maybe people think like, oh, you're making connections. Well, it's hard not to when you see the same like blueprint in almost every belief system, but with different words. But I love reading about Kabbalah, and it's very deep. You could read about that. You have to like dedicate your life if you really want to understand that, and then you die and you
Look,
still don't understand that.
but some people don't even know. In Jewish culture, the people with the black hats and the payas, or the long hair aside the ears, black suits, the only thing they do all day is study Torah and Kabbalah. It is just what you just said. You know, it takes a whole life. You can't, if you really want to comprehend it, you cannot do anything else. There's so much, like every letter in Kabbalah is also a number. And you know, if you add up the numbers, you get a new word. And you know, it's almost like a mathematical thing. But they think, you know, if you like get Kabbalah, you can get to God or whatever energy is, you know, basically the base of all of it.
Absolutely. And that goes back to, again, like, I mean, first of all, Kabbalah and the Jewish religion, there's not just the Bible. There's several books that these gentlemen learn through a lifetime, and they memorize it. And you're right. I was looking into the Hebrew lettering, and each letter even has a meaning. So it's like, it has a numerical assignment, it has a meaning, and certain names and words are used in a certain way.
Right.
It packs an energetic punch, and it really gets through to people. It's normal in everyday talk. If you think about it, you say the right words and you talk to somebody the right way, it's going to affect them differently, to where if you come up with this horrible like demeanor and just bossing everybody around, foul language left and right. I mean, I'm not like Prue, like I say a lot of bad words, but you know, like, but it all packs like this energetic thing. And that's why people pray. That's why witches do spells. That's why music affects people, because they're singing these words. And it's just, again, back to the vibration. The music is vibrating. The words are vibrating.
When my son asks me, Dad, who's God? I tell him, you're God. I'm God. He's God. She's God. That guy is God. That tree is God. And I try to explain to him that God is the transfer of energy. And just what you just said, this is what I explained to my son. I told him, if I get angry with you and I don't make up with you, you're going to take that anger to school. You're going to have bad energy, and you're going to transfer that bad energy to another kid. So I try to explain to him, Daddy's idea of God is the transfer of energy. So we are all connected, and whatever you give off, it will get passed on in some way. And that's also what life is. That's what death is. You know, yeah.
Again, back to the physics, right? Energy cannot be destroyed or created. It just changes.
Yeah, and you know what? Judaism is the only religion that doesn't believe in heaven. Not because they don't disqualify it. You know, they don't disqualify it. It's basically, we don't know, because, you know, there's no accounts of heaven, because when you die, there's nobody coming back telling you about it. So the only thing Jews know is that energy never dies. So this is basically what we believe in. So Jews have to live life on earth as if it was heaven. You have to live here in a way you're good to others. You live a good life. You're going to be good to God. You're going to be good to whatever is around you. It's not like, you can live like an asshole and then do two good things and hope you get to heaven, like in Christianity or Islam. That's not how it works for Jews. You have to live your best life right here, because we don't know if there is a heaven. We hope so, but in some way, energy will never go. That's what we believe in, and for some reason, I think it's connected to UAP.
I think so. I think that the UAP is a big part of it. Last year, I was teaching metaphysical classes with my partner. We still have the business, and we did like meditation kits and spirit and spell kits, and then we taught about different metaphysical topics, such like past life regression, chakras, all that herbal magic, all this stuff. So, when I started doing this, somebody messaged me. They're like, "What are you doing, like with all this UFO stuff?" I'm like, "Well, if you really know me, then and you've actually talked to me, you'll realize this is kind of part of my life to begin with. I'm a weirdo, and then on top of it, it plays in because how can we accept? And if we can accept the existence of other lives, and if we're accepting the fact that we don't know everything." Think about how much that expands consciousness. People want to talk about ascension and all this stuff, but this is a big part of it, because if people can wrap their heads around interdimensional beings from other star system, just the fact that we don't know 100% how something works. If they can open up to that, they can open up in so many other areas. And when enough people in the human race decide to open their minds like that and start accepting bigger ideals than just this planet and bigger things than just this planet, then they are going to naturally ascend to a higher state of consciousness and then learn more about each other, hopefully, and learn more about how we actually affect each other and our planet. And now we're thinking what? Other dimensions, possibly, just being embedded in all these like multi-dimensional worlds. We're just like sitting in dimensions right now. And it's just, you can think about it forever, really.
Look, there's molecules right now on your body, or neurons or whatever. That's a dimension. We can't see it. So why not?
Yeah, definitely. And then we have, different physicists talking about it. Josh just posted something about it. And then I remember like I posted this thing Neil deGrasse Tyson was talking about. Now we're talking like hard dimensions. We're not talking any like metaphysical dimensions, but we're talking physics dimensions. But basically it gets harder and harder to wrap your head around these things. And he actually uses, I know like he gets a bad rap because he's so rigid in his beliefs, but you have to think, he used the example of Monsters Inc., the movie, saying like, think about that. Like they're basically like in another dimension and they open this door and there's this whole other world. And that's kind of how like, theoretical physicists talk about or explain. It translates to something like that when they're saying like, we have these, like the many worlds theory.
Yeah. By the way, Josh, if you're still watching, I sent you a StreamYard link. Feel free to jump in, my friend. Yeah. So that's very interesting. Now, how do you connect whatever you are doing with your, can I say witch activities or something? Sure. With with the UAP thing, because I'm still curious about that.
Okay, well, here's where it's going to get a little woo. So, if earmuffs for all the like hardcore, people is black and white. Nothing's black and white. So, I do a lot of the meditation trying to initiate contact, and I do a lot of the meditation to try and initiate contact with interdimensional beings and wisdom outside of myself. So, and I tie that into the witch stuff with, I use essential oils that are said to have like a higher vibration, such as blue tansy and blue lotus. And blue lotus ties back to ancient Egypt. They actually infuse it with wine. You could smoke it. It gives you a little tingly sensation. And then I also use crystals. And if you read about the different, there's a bunch of stuff about crystals and how they vibrate on different wavelengths. And then just the quartz crystal alone is used in technology because of the way it, works with interfaces with electricity. So I try to incorporate a lot of that. And like the herbal stuff that I use, I'm saying that, it all goes back to physics. Like these plants are also, they also, like if we zoom in enough, they also are operating and interacting with us on a quantum level. And some people actually believe that they have spirits and they will teach you things. So like a lot of people that have done mushrooms will say that, or ayahuasca. So,
well,
yeah.
Jamie, pull that up. DMT. I'm doing the Rogan. I'm sorry. It's
I know.
I don't have a Jamie. I'm like a poor man's Rogan in Holland.
Maybe like when your son grows up, you can be like, Google that.
I'll be his slave and do that for him. But yeah, no, that's interesting because I've heard a lot about people, especially with the DMT thing. I haven't done it before. I've never done any hallucinate. How do you say this in English?
Hallucinogenic,
yeah,
or entheogenic.
Yeah, something like that. I can't pronounce it. I'm a foreigner.
I can barely say it myself. That's a big word. So
hallucinogenics. But like DMT, for example, I hear people who do DMT, their lives actually really take a different turn because they say, okay, now I've experienced another dimension, and this was not just something from my mind. I feel really connected with this experience I just had. Have you ever done DMT?
I have not done DMT. I've used magic mushrooms before, and that definitely, obviously, I tried it like for fun, but then I tried it more seriously later in life when I started getting to the spiritualism and just really wanting to experience other dimensions and actually just tap into something that wasn't of this plane, whether it be, what people consider God or whatever. But I've heard so many people experience DMT and change afterwards. And actually on that UFO podcast, they interviewed a gentleman that's studying DMT. And he talks about all these interdimensional beings that people come in contact with, and sometimes the wisdom that they interact with. And with ayahuasca, it's a lot similar, but ayahuasca is known as the mother. Like she will from the people I know that done ayahuasca, they call it La Madre, and she will kind of call you out on your bullshit the first time. So your first trip is not good because she's pulling up your shadow side for you to heal. And then after that, people are like, oh my gosh, I had to change my life. So they do.
So I see my buddy Vinnie is waiting. I'm going to pull him in. Disclosure team, Vincent Adams. There he is. Hey, buddy.
Hey, how you doing?
Hey, Vinnie.
Hey, Pricilla.
How's
it
going?
How are you guys? I'm very well. Thank you very much for letting me join you guys. What a conversation. I've been loving it. I've just been mesmerized by this new angle. I love it. So,
Vinny's gonna come ground us now because he's the
Hey, no. Listen, you were just talking then. I have had experiences with psychedelics and stuff in the past, and did feel this sort of spiritual connection to something. I never knew what it was, but it definitely put me into a place where it felt like something had sparked in me that I couldn't comprehend at the time. And so I'm very open to these kind of things. I know I come across quite nuts and bolts and things like that, but I'm very open to that kind of side of things as well.
So tell us about your experience then, Vin. I'm curious.
Well, I hanging out when I was late teens, early 20s, bunch of friends. Do you want to, go off to we've actually got this load of magic mushrooms. There was an old derelict castle from a few hundred years ago. We took a load of mushrooms, went to this castle ruins and tripped out. Great so environment, fun. Man. Oh, yeah. That's the thing. I think the place is important. You don't just sit in someone's living room and do it. You do it properly, It was a really ancient, proper English
it in an
ancient
castle for sure.
Yeah.
Okay. I've never done anything like that in my life, but Vinnie, I would like to do it with you at Stonehenge.
Oh, dude. I don't think you can get right up to the actual things as close anymore. I think once a year they allow people to get up close to them, but I think you're like barriered off, so that probably wouldn't be as authentic.
Yeah, we'd probably be there with another 100 guys who
Dude,
doing
don't worry, I'll come up with somewhere else. There's so many old historic places around England that we can go to, so don't worry about that.
Cool. So Priscilla, let's get back to a little bit of the nuts and bolts of the UAP subject. Did you see the project Avi Loeb started, the Galileo project? What do you think about that?
I think it's amazing. I was like blown away when he's reading that list of, you know, all the scientists that will be involved in what they do. Like he's got everything covered, and these people are like it's like an all-star team of scientists. And there's also the side of, you know, UAP world where like, we don't need your science. We just know. That's fine. Like I know what I saw. I've seen multiple UAP. I know what it is, and I know that I know certain things inherently, but I want other people to know it too, and other people aren't going to accept it until they have that evidence. So he's going to see something up there once they get, you know, once they start searching, and then that's going to lead to new ways to view physics, new ways to view science, new ways to view life.
Yeah, so this is very interesting because me, Vinnie, and Josh, we were fantasizing about who this benefactor of Mr. Loeb could be. And I think we anonymously were agreeing on it should be, or we think it's Bigelow, Robert Bigelow, right? So, but there's one thing that's very interesting about Robert Bigelow, because he hired a lot of scientists, like really, you know, very, very acclaimed scientists, who, he wanted them to actually study consciousness, right? What happens to you after you die? What happens to your spirit? What happens to your energy? And there was some real progress made, and some would even argue that he could prove now that your energy is not going anywhere after you die. So now you have science and consciousness actually not colliding. They you know, it's basically something scientific now, and to me that's mind-blowing. It's actually really interesting.
That is interesting. So even if the energy doesn't go anywhere, how do we know it doesn't go anywhere if like the multiple worlds, the many worlds theory is real? Like your energy can still leave some sort of resonance here, but then we have to question fractal existences too. So but that's super cool, and that's an interesting thing, thinking that he's so mysterious. I feel like, though, like Bigelow, like he doesn't tell anything that he knows. I know he knows some good stuff. It's like, come on, man.
Oh, he does indeed. There's been conversations happening today on Twitter about some of the stuff that Bigelow did back in, I think it was like in the 90s and the early 2000s, with some of the other more mysterious figures relating through the government, the military and stuff like that. Some of the secret access programs that he's definitely related to. It's such a mystery, but there are like,
for a fact connected to Harry Reid, actually.
Oh yeah, Harry Reid. He's connected to Dr. Eric Davis and other people, man. It's so interesting, but yeah, we just don't quite know. But the thing is, as well, you were just talking about the Galileo project, and I think it was announced today or yesterday that Seth Shostak from SETI is now connected with the Galileo project, and he's been a big time skeptic of extraterrestrials and UAPs and stuff. So that's a full 180 U-turn, and he's now,
that's big.
You know, I did not see that one coming, so that's crazy.
Oh no, this is actually really exciting, man. No, look, this is perfect, because now you have all these people who are actually working against each other starting to work with each other. I love that, Stephen Greer. But I had to say that. I'm sorry. But you know, if I think about Robert Bigelow, did you guys see him on Rogan a couple of months ago?
I didn't listen to that one. I saw it, and it's one of those. It's like, I need to listen to that, and then I never do.
It was, to me, it was no, it was a whole bunch of nothing.
Oh, okay. I've noticed that. Like some
it was
people
good.
say that.
Wait. I think it was good. He just went like 75% of the way and then stopped before he got to anything really juicy. So he did hint at things and he did speak about things, but yes, it could have been better.
He's like a tease sometimes. Like you think Joe Rogan's going to start like getting into the deep stuff and then he just stops. I'm like, nobody's there yet, man. Come on. Like,
exactly.
Yeah. This is what he does, which is very, very, very frustrating. But then again, you know, he's this mysterious Salvador Dali looking dude. No, tell me I'm lying. Tell me I'm lying.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right.
This was my comment yesterday. I was like, you're so bad, but you're hilarious.
He looks like Dali. Come on.
Well, now that you say it, my gosh, I'm never going to unsee it again.
Oh, that's so funny.
But when Bigelow, you know, there's an interesting story about his motives. Do you know his son died? I think it was his son. Yeah, his son or his wife dying. And this is when he really got into looking into life after death. And for some reason, and this is my only criticism about Bigelow, he's a bit all over the place, right? You know, okay, so he's also into ghosts. The fucking what's the name? The
Skinwalker Ranch.
Skinwalkers.
No, yeah. Bigfoot, but then again, UAP and consciousness. So okay, I'm like, okay, dude, focus. Maybe one thing at a time. So I get, you know, I'm excited about him, you know, having scientists find out something about consciousness, and it's you know, going on after you die, and it's exciting to me. But now maybe just focus on UAP and not also like ghosts and goblins and whatever.
I think that comes down to 20 years of owning Skinwalker Ranch and forming NIDS to go and investigate the many different aspects of like phenomena that were occurring at Skinwalker Ranch. So, you know,
I have another question. Why is this all happening on Skinwalker Ranch? Why are ghosts, goblins, UAPs?
I don't know, man.
Well, they had that when they did on the last season, they found there was all those magnetic anomalies, and we don't really understand how magnetism interacts with different things. And even Travis was saying on there, like, there might be some sort of like, you know, wormhole type situation happening.
Yeah, totally.
Because they have a little bit of everything. You're right. And
yeah,
how could he not study it all if he had Skinwalker Ranch at one point?
That's the thing. And they're still discovering things, you know. We saw at the end of season 2 that it kind of ended, and like then I was thinking that must have been last year. And then when I was speaking to the security guy the other day, Caleb, and he was saying that when I interview him, there's things that he cannot talk about. So I was like, oh man, I need to know that stuff, like, because obviously the work's ongoing, and if you're getting prominent physicists like Travis Taylor confused by what's going on, then you know there's something happening there that's important.
Yeah, what would happen if we sent Avi Loeb to Skinwalker Ranch?
The universe might implode.
Yeah. Oh my God, what is going on here?
Then you have Travis doing all the crazy experiments. My husband was making fun of me because I was like, they're gonna bring Tesla coils. Like, I'm gonna lose it. And I'm like watching. I'm like, he's like, you're so weird. I was like, look at them. And he's just like, whatever. Like, but it's a Tesla coil.
Hey, but Priscilla, you said something interesting. You said that there's all these magnetic fields over there at Skinwalker Ranch. What does that mean? I haven't heard of that.
Well, they had a whole survey done this past season, and it showed all these a couple of areas of interest on the ranch had these magnetic anomalies, and then there was some parts of the ground that were showing their compasses were going nuts in these areas, and a lot of different things were happening. But it's a lot of people are wondering how electromagnetic fields could play into like different things like anti-gravitational travel, and we don't really understand how they interact with possible like other dimensions on Earth. We don't really understand electromagnetism. So the fact that they're having all this phenomena happening in one area and then they just so happen to have a magnetic anomaly there is kind of, you know, raises more questions.
It does, and it was also related. I mean, there was that one part where they were scanning the homestead with so many different pieces of equipment, but it showed that when the people were stood next to it, it dropped something like 20 degrees in temperature, and it formed this eye in like the infrared over the homestead, like it was almost forming a portal, and everyone, all the scientists were just completely confused and blown away. I mean, there was no answer. It was just mind-boggling stuff.
Was that the episode, I might be merging them, but where the rabbi was doing the ceremony?
Yeah, that's it, yeah.
Have you not watched?
Of course. It's my people.
Yeah, so basically Max is tied in, and now we know the answer. So he was doing the ceremony when that happened, and we were just talking about like the I mean, they always have weird stuff happen, but it was super weird, and they showed that thing kind of moving. Those dead spots though, of that cold or the heat, it was like, and like you said, a gentleman like Travis Walker, like you see him in like season 1, and he's just like, I don't understand. If we want answers, we have to do A, B, C, D. And at the end of it, like I was kind of laughing because like his hair's getting disheveled, and he's like, let's get a Tesla coil. Like he's like getting in as much as he can, and it seems like he is triggering things, right? Like they seem to be discovering more since people have been letting him do more experiments.
Yeah. So it also really connects me in a weird way to the old school movie Poltergeist, right? If you remember that movie,
very well.
Yeah, it was on
the hell out of me.
Oh, dude, same here.
Still scares some people. There's a lot of stories about that in people's home too. But,
I still see the little lady go into the light, but
that's more scary. You doing it?
Yeah. It's even more scary. I was born with this voice. You should hear me say this when I was 2 years old. Go into the light.
Oh my God.
But what it does have a big connection, you know. It feels like, you know, all these movies actually have weird connections to whatever is going on right now. Even the Lazar story with I can't remember. I think it was E.T. or something. But you know, there is a lot of it feels sometimes like Hollywood movies having snippets of information and working with that and creating movies, right? So the only movie I get worried about is Independence Day.
Of course. Naturally.
Yeah, I've always like, I'm going to be like, you know, the girl on top of the building with the...
Yeah.
I'm like, she's my spirit animal. That's me. Like, I've never related to anybody more.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So about spiritual connections, I hope Sean is going to come in a couple of minutes because I would love to talk to him about this. Is that a lot of people who have seen UAP are for some reason either more receptive, like we've talked about ADD, Priscilla. I have ADD. Yeah. So highly sensitive, actually.
Not alone. You're not alone.
I thank the God. But also people who have maybe a traumatizing experience in their life that switches like turns a switch or something, and you see something. And this is something Sean talks about. He had a very emotional moment in his life, and that's when something happened. And actually, I saw a UAP right before a very bad thing happened in my life, which was mind-blowing to me. And I could, thank God, talk to someone about that, my buddy Sean. But this is something I hear more.
Yes.
You saw a UAP when you were about 4 years old. Now, this is maybe a very inappropriate question, but was there something going on in your family situation or in your life at the time? What did I say?
Oh, that was bad timing.
Oh man,
I'm sure.
Oh, Priscilla, come back. Oh no.
Spooky.
Yeah, that was actually kind of creepy. Like right at that moment.
Just about to spill the beans.
Yeah, what the fuck happened? What was that? Oh, there she is. Oh, come on. Come back.
I see you. Yeah, I see you guys. I don't know what happened. Yeah.
Freaky.
That was like I asked you
Poltergeist.
I asked
Yep.
you about was there something going on in your life, and your energy just blew out your
Yeah. Yeah, my dad left when I was 4, and there was a new stepdad coming into the picture who was not a good person. So that's why I was at my grandma's a lot. So it was kind of like I at a very young age realized that I had this like thing that like it was not, I couldn't fall into Catholicism the way everybody else could, even at a young age. Like I was still questioning. Do you know what I mean? I've had some beautiful experiences with, beings described in the Bible, but at the same time, now I'm questioning, are those beings actually angels? Are they interdimensional beings that we also relate to as extraterrestrial? Because you have to think that you said when something big happens, what else happens in your body? It's an energetic shock. And I took a priestessing class, and we talked about it as an energetic contraction. When something happens and it just like sucks your energy in, like you get punched in the stomach, like basically like it takes your breath away. But you have to think about a traumatic event or a major event. What else is happening is you're having that whole like adrenal system in overdrive. You're hyper aware. And for some people, that never goes away. And that's PTSD. So it makes a lot of sense. What you're talking about is something big is happening. And then all of a sudden you're more aware of your surroundings. And people with anxiety, like they see and hear things that people don't. And it's not in they're a crazy way. They're hyper aware. Like your adrenal system's always working. And I think that people have gone through things, or sometimes if you're about to go through something, your spidey senses kick on, you know what I mean? And maybe that's why you saw something and then that next thing happened, because a lot of people have visitations before or after a traumatic event. Now I'm going to tell you guys something very personal that I don't mind sharing. My brother overdosed in 2014, and I had a sleep paralysis episode. And it was not a bad one. It was beings, and I was in between sleep and awake. And I practiced lucid dreaming. So I knew where I was. I wasn't asleep, but I wasn't awake. But I had the feeling of these beings around me. And it was really fast. And then my mind was like, I think they were angels, But now that I'm learning more about the UAP phenomena and the possibility of interdimensional beings traveling that way, I really question, were these beings actually just interdimensional or ultradimensional or whatever? And I really think it's because, like you said, some big event happens and people are more aware, because you have to, it's a survival mode almost, but the survival mode can play into a positive thing too, because you are noticing more.
Yeah. Well, I actually talked to a very good friend of us, and for a fact, I know. By the way, I can relate to your loss. I'm sorry. By the way, my dad was a drug addict too. For the majority of his life, I've noticed that. So I kind of know what survival mode is. But what I'm curious about is why people either have a trauma and or I'm kind of lost for words. I'm sorry.
Quite all right, Max.
Yeah. But this really touches down on something for me personally too, because whenever what you just elaborated on, Priscilla, I so can identify with all your sensors being on high alert and being hyper aware of your surroundings when you're in survival mode, and then seeing things. But what really feels, what hurts my heart is you being so young and experiencing that I find very, very hard to hear. actually?
I mean, it's just the world, you know, we can't control what happens to us, but you do take things away. Even like you think about like your worst situation, that the worst thing that's ever happened to you, you can look back now and it's either made you more badass, it's made you more receptive to people's energy, or maybe personality types, and then it's gifted you with wisdom, whether that wisdom is stay away from those kind of people, stay away from that kind of thing, or it's, you know, it's always has something to give you. And I think that people that are experiencing these things at a young age tend to be kind of like brought out of their shell a little faster, and they're more receptive to things around them, and that's how they can kind of find their calling in life. Because let me tell you, people call me at their worst time, like people I haven't talked to in years. They'll be like, some craziness just happened, like, and I know you're not going to judge me about it. I saw a ghost, or I saw a UFO, or this crazy stuff happened. Like their life is like upside down. They know that I can hold a space for them and not judge them and just like be present with them. And I think that that's kind of like what I think that everybody that has something traumatic is able to do that for other people.
Yeah.
So,
do you think though that also we talk about something bad happening, people see things or they connect to something, you know, they have a negative experience. Surely, like everything else in the universe with a positive and a negative, that people are still open to experiencing things when something maybe really good happens in their life, or, you know, because I don't think that's touched upon often enough. But for me, I think that makes just as much sense as anything else, you know?
Like the birth of a child. Like you have to think about a child being birthed. Like there's, whether you're a father or a mother, when that little being is conceived and that little being is ready to emerge from the woman's body, you are literally like on that fine line of life and death. And that's a beautiful thing. And so many people say their kids come into their lives, they wreck their world and they rock it and they do all this stuff, but for the better. And think about like the most beautiful mountain scene you've ever seen in nature, or the most beautiful vacation you've ever seen. Or maybe it was a moment with your child where you're just like
I got to tell this story.
Your breath away.
I got to tell this story. I remember me having a huge fight with my very pregnant wife some evening. And at that moment, I still had a apartment like 5 minutes away. So I just decided to sleep over there because I knew it was safe. If something would happen, I would be there within 5 minutes, right? I remember there was this huge storm that night. Like we're talking thunder, rain, wind. It was like incredible because in Holland, we don't really have storms like that. You know, you either have just shitty rain.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it was like there was a lot of violence in nature at that moment, which was crazy. And at 5 o'clock in the morning, my wife calls me. She says, my water broke. Yeah. And I always felt this was my son announcing, dude, I'm coming. Get your ass to my mom.
Wake up.
Yeah.
And you said he's very vibrant and energetic, so I could see that.
Yeah. Hey, there's my buddy Sean. Sean, you're in.
Oh,
dude.
what's up?
Hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
How's it going?
Good,
hey, man. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, no, my pleasure. Thanks for inviting me.
How
am I sounding deep and sexy and good, or
as always, bro?
Yeah,
as always.
I'm just making sure.
That's such a weird boner.
Not that again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
This is the wrong chat room.
Yeah, we keep that in the.
You guys are fine. You guys are fine. I'm not easily offended, so you're good.
Sorry, Priscilla.
I was just working on a new song in here.
All right.
Let's hear it.
Is it called Weird Boner?
No.
And it's dedicated to you.
If you want it to be, then I totally misjudged you. No, I literally just got finished with it. So
awesome, man.
Yeah.
Creative juices are flowing tonight then.
Yeah.
But,
you know, and it was a negative comment on Twitter that got me motivated to do it. So it's like, little do people like that know the fires that they start when they are negative. Yeah.
But now, John, are you gonna sing it to us, or are
Sing
we
it to
just?
you? No, man. This is like a dance pop song, buddy. This
So
is all
dance.
out.
So
No,
it's
I don't.
Saturday.
Dance.
We can
It's
dance.
for you to dance. I don't
Mm.
dance because when I eat sugar, it goes to my ankles. Then they swell up, and I can't dance.
All right, Grandpa.
Yeah, that's just how it goes.
It's what I always say in the club. Yeah, when I eat sugar, it goes through my ankles, and
Yeah.
I can't dance. Yeah.
That's
just
not
how
sugar
it
you
is,
got
man.
there, Max. That's not sugar in the club.
I have an idea though,
Oh.
Oh,
because I always do. That's what that light bulb back there is for. Can I share something with you?
yeah. Let's go.
We can try that. Mm-mm-mm. Well, this is what we're doing on Saturday night. Eh?
Yeah, we're just hanging out, man.
TikTok, TikTok,
I wish I
motherfucker.
would have got my
We're not gonna wait a long time.
my brewski. All right. Well, I uploaded it. I don't know. You may.
Oh, there
have
it
to.
is. Yeah. I'm gonna bring it in.
Is it even raining on me? I got UFOs on my mind. I got UFOs on my mind. I got UFOs on my mind. I'll talk and I'll leave what's on my mind.
Yeah.
Well,
Either.
I thought this was my show, but that's fine,
Hijacked.
Sean. Just plug.
Yeah, I literally just got done. So I was like, and I make those little clips on my phone. So
That's
Hey, man,
so
that
Oh,
looks
yeah.
really great.
Impressive.
That's
Like an
really great.
airdrop.
That's really
Thanks.
great.
Thank you very much.
And I'm jelly.
Appreciate it. Yeah, I'm peanut butter. Who's the bread?
Priscilla.
Oh,
What were you guys
I
talking about?
I like toasted bread. So
well, first donate.
See,
Thank
profit.
you,
Not
Josh,
me.
for
A
your
musician never profits.
donation, buddy. Thank you. So we were talking about a lot of very spiritual and deep stuff, and actually,
Ooh,
Sean, this
I
is
ruined
something that I was actually mentioning you because Priscilla and a couple of people we know had very intense moments in their lives, and then had their first UAP experience. And Priscilla shared hers, which was very, very. It really went right through my soul, actually.
sorry.
And no, look, thank you for that. You know, it was beautiful. But so did me and Sean. We had been talking about that for a couple of months ago, actually, already. So, Sean, maybe you want to tell or share your story to Priscilla?
Sure. Okay.
Yeah, shouldn't have come in. Now you have to
Yeah.
share. Thank you, Scott Jensen, for your support, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I guess I've seen a lot of things since, which I have video of it, like 2 or 3 of them, which aren't, they're not going to beat Mick West or anything. One of them is pretty impressive, actually, but those didn't really do anything for me as far as emotionally or anything like that. They were really just simply something I was seeing that I wasn't really that over astonished with, to be honest with you, for whatever reason. I mean, it was cool, but I wasn't like, oh my God, or crying or anything. I was just like, wow.
You
So
cried.
that was, yeah, not on those, but so what it all kind of started with when I had in August of, what was the coronavirus year, 2020 or 2019?
2020, I guess.
2020 was most
So-
of it.
August 2020.
Oh, shit.
What's going on
Sorry.
tonight, man?
Nobody's allowed to like feel anything. It just turns off.
That's crazy.
Sorry.
What does that say about me though? Because I've been here the whole time. I haven't jumped
Shit.
out. Does that mean I'm emotionless?
No,
Oh man.
we haven't
Sorry.
probed you yet. You just
That's
haven't
'cause
been
there's
probed.
nothing-
That's incredible. eh?
I'm the only
Sorry,
one that
dude.
hasn't seen anything.
No,
so-
it's actually my fault. I thought I was gonna
Oh, you did.
yeah, I was gonna remove your
thanks.
it
It wasn't meant to be. I told Vinny I'd do it on his.
I was gonna remove your
No,
your
you
leader.
owe him $100
but I-
on that bet.
but I removed it. Sorry, continue.
You don't hear me?
Go for it.
You do hear me?
Go.
Where was it? Okay. And yeah, so bowling, I bowled with my dad like every year. And it always started around this time, August, September. And it was a good time. It was once a week. We got along well. We've never gotten in like any large arguments or anything. Usually it was just him upset with me and my irresponsibility, which was understandable, especially at that age. But you know, we've never really fought. But so I'm going to pause right there and go to 2 years prior. I had a dream about us fighting, like having a really bad fight, like swear words in each other's faces, like it was going to get physical and all that stuff. And I remember waking up and not really understanding why that would ever happen, why I dreamed that. And it stayed with me for a few days, actually. But it finally went away. So go back to where we paused. Coronavirus is going on pretty strong right now. My father is older, so he's kind of the mindset of I'll be fine type of thing. You know, no one was vaccinated at that point. And I even showed up there saying I would do it if people are going to wear masks. And this is total suburbia, and absolutely no one was wearing masks. And so I just looked at him and said, I can't do this. And he made a joke of it, you know, like kind of smart alecky comments, and proceeded to get really upset with me and stormed off and all that. I saw so like a night before that or 2 nights before that, I was going back into my house smoking a cigarette, and above me I see like what is like a kind of like a sideways teardrop with like a little curve, and it literally looked like it was 50 feet above me. It was big, like 6 foot wide or something. I don't know. I'm not that kind of person. I can't do the math. But the thing was, over my head, it literally came in and out like of something. And it was bright white, like almost like a really thick, dense cloud texture. And around the edges of the thing had like a movement, and it wasn't like a random movement. It was like it was supposed to be their kind of movement, whatever it was around the edges. And then it was gone.
Wow.
And so I'm kind of like in awe of seeing this, and also stressing out about going to the bowling thing and stuff. And because I kind of knew what was going to happen. I knew that that's exactly what was going to happen. I just knew it. And I couldn't do anything about it. And then so a couple days after that, we have a phone call, and it turns into exactly that fight, except over the phone, and
Wow.
not in person. So we have that, and it is just as terrible as it was in that dream. And then
Take it easy, man.
like the next day or a couple days after, outside, going into my house, and I feel like a beam of light like shoot over my shoulder, and I just knew that I was going to see that thing again, and it would be on that same trajectory. And There it is. Same thing, except it's like a circle, like a ball, but the same texture, and around the edges of that, it had the same kind of movement. And it was like an arc, like the light shot over, then the thing just like kind of arced over, and it looked like it arced on the other side of my garage. But there's nothing over there. But it was like closeness wise, it felt like the same as the other one, except like I was getting a different view of it or something. It was obviously nothing else but something freaking weird. It was not a meteor. It was not. The first one, I almost talked myself into thinking it was a meteor because of the shape it was in. But then obviously when all this stuff happened and I saw that other thing the second time, it was clear that that's not what it was. So after that, a lot of other dramatic stuff happened with my wife's father and my mother. Everything's okay. That kind of went around these orange amber orbs that I saw with my wife. If sometimes I wonder if my mind is putting things together or not, because there was a day around seeing those where we both thought her dad and my mother were going to die that day. For different reasons. And they wound up both being okay. But I was literally watching my mom thinking she was dying as she was going to the hospital unconscious. Like in that moment. So,
right, man.
Yeah. I'll just
So
leave
right.
it at that.
You're not alone in that. That happens to a lot of people. I talk to a lot of people. A lot of people contact me with their experiences, and you're not going crazy. It's something that happens to people, and I've had the similar experience where like I knew something was happening, and I had either a premonition of it or I saw some. I've seen a lot of UFPs, so like I would see something and I would think this is a sign of something. But just to let you know, like it's not unusual at all. Just people don't talk about it. They're not comfortable talking about it. So
yeah, I felt like when the argument was happening, that I couldn't do anything differently. Like I was watching this happen and putting the pieces together in my head as words are coming out of my mouth and they're coming back at me. Like, and it was just something that like was gonna happen already, or it had to happen, or whatever. And sometimes I think maybe I think something was maybe helping it not to be in person, maybe because that would have been really bad.
yeah,
like the dream was. I don't know. I'm stuck wondering like what the hell is that, and like what am I supposed to take from this, because this was just last year. Yeah. And since then a lot of other things have happened. Like my dad and I are great, and we're both vaccinated, and he apologized big time. And we're gonna go bowling this year, and I'm excited about that.
Nice.
Hopefully, nothing bad happens again with the vaccine and stuff. But my mom is healthy. My wife's dad is having his last thing of chemo, and he's almost back to shape. So
glad to hear it.
Things
man.
are getting better. But in all this stuff, like I found myself, from having a concert and a new album in vinyl for the first time, coronavirus shutting down the venue in April, obviously,
Yeah.
So I have all these vinyls, nothing to do. And then all this stuff starts happening. And now I'm a podcast host for UAPs with Max and Vinnie and Pricilla.
Well, dude.
And I'm happy with it.
Look,
Yeah,
you are a extremely talented dude, man.
Yes.
The first time I heard your music, I was like, I'm not gonna lie. When you said, "Can you listen to this for me, please?" I was like, "Oh shit! Now I'm gonna have to tell him it's beautiful."
Yeah. Oh, that's why you
But-
said it was beautiful.
And then it was.
No. It blew my mind. Actually, it blew
Yeah.
my mind. It was incredible. You know, this dude is so fucking talented. It's sick.
Yeah.
You know the lyrics you wrote for Lou. You know, it was, everything was perfect. The lyrics, the music, your voice. It really went right through my soul, man. It, you know, and
Thanks.
whenever you speak, you're such a open and very emotionally open guy.
Yeah,
and
and that comes with its faults too. Trust me. Like, in order to survive this way, you have to do your best to gain some sort of emotional intelligence. You know,
yeah,
as hard as that is, and it's so hard because I feel so much more.
my
like
problem is always my
Yeah.
problem is always that I I can do what you can do. For me, show my emotions is a difficult thing. It's really difficult.
yeah,
I've had a really bizarre life with a very addicted father. I went through a lot. I was the oldest of 10. People
Whoa.
don't know that, but
Whoa.
well,
Big family.
yeah. So my defense mechanism is always crack a joke, be a badass.
Sure, yeah. I
you
relate
know,
to you there in
Yeah.
certain respects.
It's a way of diffusing energy, though. Like in your defense, like when I found out something really horrible would happen to me, I would make a joke, because it's either you make a joke or you go hide and cry, or like you want to cry and you can't, so you just make a joke. You know, there's nothing wrong with being the way you are, and there's nothing wrong with being the way he is, or any of us. We're all doing what we know how to do. And it's
Yeah,
not, it only
totally.
becomes
I
a
don't know about
problem when
that.
you don't learn how to like manage it. Do you know what I mean? Like you have to know boundaries. If you
Completely,
love
you're
to
right.
love people, like I love so deeply, and it's just, it can really screw you sometimes, because you fall in love with somebody and then they do something to harm themselves or somebody else. And I think that musicians have it. Like, I feel like musicians are just in this other like frequency. The way they feel and see things is so different, and they feel deeper, and they're able to put it onto music. And then some of us are talentless, so we can't put it into music. But I definitely hear what both of you guys are saying, because we all find our ways to express ourselves and accept and make energy move for ourselves.
Well, I started the program for children of addicted parents, and one thing I've noticed of children I knew growing up who had the same problem as me is they tend to be very creative. You know, either they express themselves through music, arts, sports, etc. And I started this program with a couple of people because it touches down on how I grew up. Because when I went through experiences with addicted parents, and my way of coping was escaping in my world. So what I would do, I was a big comic fan, so I would create my own comics, and in my comics I was the superhero, and I would save everyone. And you know, I created these storyboards, and I would write them down, and I still have like big piles of drawings of my comics. But the thing is, it became my occupation, because I became a director. I became a documentary filmmaker. I write for magazines and newspapers, and I think in images. I don't think in words. I think in images. So
That's interesting.
yeah, that's so for me. Making a comic, I see the scene, and then I make up what is happening there. But I can, for example, listen to a piece of music, and immediately a film starts developing in my mind.
Yeah.
There's a
I'm
story.
the exact opposite, dude, with music. It's literally the same way that I do it.
That's so
Except
cool.
music. I'll watch a film or something that doesn't have music, and I'll immediately start thinking
Making
of like,
music.
it
That's
makes it more
amazing.
powerful. You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so, yeah, it's cool.
That
It's
is cool.
interesting.
Yeah.
But
Well,
this
guys,
is
I
the-
hate to do this, but I have to go. I
Oh,
hear
no.
everybody
Oh, dude, that's-
upstairs, and I should probably go intervene and help people up there. So,
Talk
but
about
I do.
sports now.
I know.
before you go, let me thank you for being on my podcast and
It was
sharing
nice to
your
talk to you.
incredible stories. And your energy is amazing. I would love to have you on anytime, whenever you feel like it, whenever your kids are not destroying your house.
Oh my god, when they go to college. So, but yeah, I have help on the weekends. So, I would love to join you guys again. And I hate to cut out, but I had to go do mom things. So I really love all of you guys, and I love everybody watching. And I'm so happy that I've been able to meet everybody. All right, have a good weekend.
Take care.
Bye.
See you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye bye.
Wow, that was
Wow.
awesome, man.
She's so cool.
Guys,
Okay.
I'm going to have to bail as well, I'm afraid.
Oh my God, you have me do this, and then everyone just freaking
I,
leaves. huh?
I'll stick around.
That is
Sean.
shallow.
I've been at it for over
I'm
3
gonna write a
hours.
song about that.
I've neglected the
just
family.
No, I'm tired too. So,
Hey, Vinnie, thanks for jumping in, man.
No, that's cool, man. Always love talking to you guys. It really does. And one last thing, like again, Sean, I want to thank you because I've hit you up a couple of times when I've been feeling a little bit burnt out and that in the last week or two, and you've given me some music to listen to, and it really has helped, man. So I want to say that publicly because it's not just talk; it's real, man. So thank you, brother.
I'm just thrilled that somebody gets something out of it that's useful and helpful.
Cool.
That's the way. That's the only thing I ever want from it. You know, I wouldn't do it for 20, 25 years if it was for money or fame, you know, because I'd be a psychopath by now. Like, I just love it. And so that's how I get paid. And
Nice.
So it's
Cool,
my
man.
pleasure. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Yeah, Max, thank you as always, bro. Speak tomorrow, probably. Like
Probably. Yeah.
guys, thank you so
All right,
much,
man.
and I'll see you soon.
See you later, man.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.
Peace out, bro.
Hey, there he is.
Hey.
Yeah.
So you
Yeah.
got me.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, no, it's funny, that Vinny just said, he was expressing his feeling bad at the time and talking to you about it. This is something I have a really hard time with, expressing my feelings when I don't feel good. I'm a person who doesn't do that at all. I either just ghost, disappear, or like transfer my energy to something else. But
Exactly. That's what
yeah.
I do too.
Yeah, well,
You know, I don't sit here and share. I mean, I make myself vulnerable to an extent, but I'm also know what I'm getting into a bit. And I don't express myself well. Ask my wife or friends or my family. I don't. How I express myself is like through an emotional song. So when you're hearing that, that's everything I've been going through, is just like right out there. And I can't, use all the words. So I paint it with sounds and emotion,
yeah. By the way, Stephanie, thank you so much for your support. Yeah, well, Sean, whenever you sing and whenever you make your music, there's something about you that is so sincere in what you create. It's in the vibration of your voice. It's in the the how do you call this, the subtlety of the music, right? Yeah, you really make people feel what you feel, and that's an incredible gift. Thank you, Scott, by the way.
That's it. Well, I mean, to be honest, like that's why I don't always like when people just refer to me and talk to me like a musician. I'm a musician. I'm not a musician.
No,
What-
you are. You're an artist.
I'm just you can't lump everybody together. I'm not a guitar player in a studio and on tour and trying to be a rock and roll star. I'm just that's just a journal for me, and it gets to go on the internet. So
Well, you're very modest, but I feel the heaviness of whatever you create. It's very personal. It's very, very real.
yeah.
And I think you touch a lot of people with that. And
I've been doing it for a long time, brother.
I know,
it's
but
only ever reached so far, to be honest with you. And I did a lot with it, and I'm very happy with it. But now at this point, I'm happy with and content with where it's at and how I'm doing it.
well, I have a feeling that you
Yeah.
are in the right place for some weird reason with everything you're doing. The podcast, and you can share your music and show you. I feel you found your home.
Yeah, it feels like it.
Yeah.
hmm I'm doing things I never thought I would do.
Yeah.
When coronavirus and the lockdown came, all the musicians around here were turning to like live stream stuff, and I just didn't want anything to do with it. I didn't do it because it just like that's not why I performed. I performed to be around other human beings and bodies, and I'm trying to create an atmosphere that supersedes who we are as humans.
Yeah.
And if you can get real enough and people can get vulnerable enough at the same time, it's so beautiful. And I just didn't want to do that on live stream. And then all this stuff happens, and I got a podcast, and it's live stream, so it's so weird.
No, I feel very proud, my friend. And
Yeah.
I think with the hardship you've experienced the last months, actually, maybe years. Look, it's a way to blow off steam, but also to show something of you, right? I feel that you, as a musician, before you, of course, created albums, you had your concerts or whatever, but with COVID, that's impossible, and especially if you're a struggling musician. But now, I think you found a audience maybe in a place you wouldn't have expected, but it's a very loyal and a very loving audience, and a very rapidly growing audience, and it's very much a like-minded audience. I don't
Yeah,
know.
it definitely is. I have received more love doing this, honestly, than I ever did in the music industry, and a lot of the reason is because of the politics in the music industry, even on a local level, rules it all. So I was not a hangout every night or to schmooze with different people. I was at home every night making songs and new songs because that's where my heart was. And because of that, I missed a lot of opportunities, but I still managed to do a lot as well,
Can
especially
I
because of the help of some great bandmates. But
can I make a weird offer to you?
sure.
In Holland, my cousin, he's an artist manager,
hmm
and he started the label. It's called Own It. And Own It means that every artist who is under his wing uh, keeps his author rights, keeps his. So that means if you go to a regular record label, they
Mhm.
take your
Yeah.
author rights, right? It's not yours
Mhm.
anymore. Your song is not yours anymore. Why don't you send me some of your tracks, and maybe in a weird way, for some reason, shit will take off in Europe.
Yeah. You never know. You never know.
I have a cousin
People,
with a record label.
people like me a lot more in Europe than they do here. Trust me. And vice versa. That's probably because I grew up on Oasis and Beatles and Rolling Stones and
Yeah.
The Who and
Yeah, maybe.
all that stuff.
Yeah, but no, I would love to share some of your
Oh, somebody asked me my band name. The band was
UFOs and Hoes.
the first band I had was called Twin Brother. And the other one I had was Reigns, Reins Daily, Daily. So
yeah, let's tweet that.
yeah,
Can they find you on Spotify?
literally, if you just Google my my name, I'm sure you'll start finding some music stuff quick.
All right, but are you
'Cause
on
there's not-
Spotify?
Yeah, both of those are on Spotify. I'm gonna put out some stuff as Witness Citizen too, maybe on Spotify.
Okay.
I don't know. I have enough UFO songs by now. Yeah,
That's
the last one I like a lot. I don't know how I would be able to play it, but oh yeah, I could. If you want to hear the whole thing.
Yeah, let's go, man. Let's do it.
It would be interesting. Or you kind of, I spent a lot of emotions here with you. I'm feeling that a little bit. I'm finding out I'm kind of a empath.
Yeah,
that makes sense.
That does. Is there some way I can like just turn off our sounds and just hear music, or?
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe we can do it a different time. It doesn't look like this is working.
If you can just play it, I'll shut up.
Nah, I can't get it to work without like a video attached to it, so it's fine.
Okay. Well,
Yeah.
you know what?
Not a problem.
Yeah, just send me the link, and we'll Twitter it right after, right?
Sure, sure. Yeah. I'm gonna make like a whole video for it, probably, I guess, and stuff. So I'll send it to you. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it'll be fun. Yeah, I'm looking forward to getting back to it tomorrow. I have a good calendar going. Remember the nice young lady I met talking to you and Max?
And Max, that's me.
I always screw up your guys' names. Yourself and Vinnie.
Yeah.
Yeah. Jess?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, so she's going to be on Monday.
From the rock show.
Mhm.
She's awesome. Yeah.
Yep. And yeah, so that should be cool. I'm going to have Jazz Shaw come back. I haven't talked to him in a long time.
I like jazz.
So that'll be cool. And I'm also setting up like a special. It's going to be like a panel kind of thing where we all discuss the latest book from Ross Coulthart.
Oh, yeah. Awesome.
So that should be cool too.
Yeah, I should read that.
It's a good book. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should if you want to claim you know anything.
Yeah.
You buy the Audible book and put it on 5 times. You know, it's long. I didn't know a lot of this stuff, dude.
Well, I'll bet you I read a lot of European books you can't read in English. So
yeah, no, I mean, I'm not claiming I do. I'm just saying it's part of the resume now. I think it's that good, apparently.
So, dude, I feel you are you having a bad day? Maybe are you okay?
Yeah, I'm good. Why?
Not. I feel a little bit of a sad energy.
Bro, do you remember what we just talked about? That's pretty emotional.
Okay. So you're still, yeah.
That brings me down a little bit for sure.
I didn't mean to do that though.
Sorry. I'm trying to pop out of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that kind of drained my emotional. I don't fake stuff, you know, and that's the not saying
I didn't mean to ambush you.
Well, the thing is, man, like the reason you say that about my songs and the reason that you're touched when I tell my story is because when I do that, I don't sacrifice any of myself or reserve it. That's why I didn't tell the story before, because I didn't feel like I could tell it the right way to show how I felt by feeling that way right in front of you and with you, you know?
Right. Yeah.
So when I do that, I do that on stage when I perform. That's just for whatever reason, that's how I've found to do things is by being as true and organic as possible and vulnerable, and you can take it or leave it, but here it is. You know, this is how we should live, is by completely opening up to each other and accepting one another no matter what, really, you know, and forgiveness and all that stuff. So it takes just so much out of me when I do it. It's like after a concert too, or a song, like people wouldn't see me for a while, you know. I'd take my pack of cigarettes and walk down the block, and I'd be gone for like an hour, just like
you experience all
relaxing,
the emotions.
You know?
When you sing the songs, you experience whatever you were experiencing when you wrote the song or what the song's about.
Not so much as how I'm feeling at the time. Like they're all tools to get the expression out, and they're written as such so that they can be replayed and continue to serve that kind of therapy for me too. You know.
Yeah.
So, and no, sometimes I just can't get there. Like on a stage, I can't, but I have to play. For whatever reason, a loud crowd, a jerky bandmate, you know,
a
bad sound guy, or you know, I'm just being a prick for some reason, you know. So I don't know, but yeah. So I always just offer myself up. And
well, this is an interesting comment. UAP Leidsplein, which is a square right here in Amsterdam. Street Shinobi, what do you mean UAP Leidsplein? Is that a band, or is there actually a UAP right now on Leidsplein? I'm curious. Need to know, because I will jump in my car and I will go check it out.
Well, you might as well live stream it into the show.
Yeah, well, I'd have to. Oh, there he is. The bulldog. That's a calf shot. But okay.
Oh yeah.
All right.
What do you think,
people?
Yeah.
How's
Pricilla? She seems nice.
No, she's lovely. I really enjoy talking to her. She's such a open-minded girl, but she gives such a different perspective to this whole topic, you know. And I love, you know, it's my Kabbalah connection I can really share with her, and yeah,
sure.
So
yeah, I mean, if you ever like just close your eyes and try to imagine what that means or what that feels like to just be one with everything.
That's a big thing, because that's something that really occupies me for the last couple of months, years actually, is this connection to it all. And this directly comes back to what we were talking about. It's like my experience with the UAP was right before something really bad happened in my life.
Right.
And I told you about my my paranormal experience with the boxing gloves, right? Also, when I was in a very distressed period in my life, there's something happens, but there's more.
Weird,
It's weird, but then again, I'm trying to figure it out, man. There's other stuff going on. It's like, for example, what you were. No, I think it was Vinnie. You know, I also can like sense when something is when something really good's coming, because my mood will be in that place. You know, I feel like there's something positive coming, but when something bad is coming, that feeling or that whatever that is comes into me before I know what it is. I feel it coming. I know something is coming. It's weird.
That's got to drive you crazy. Like, either way. good or bad. That's got to be anxiety. I never have been good with knowing that kind of stuff, you know,
No, it's not knowing, it's feeling.
or
It's
feeling it either beforehand, you know, like that.
no, it's a
Good or
feeling.
bad stuff. Yeah.
You don't know what's coming. It's just the heaviness of what's coming already hits me before it comes, which
Yeah.
is weird.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
not everybody experiences that.
Now, me and Priscilla, we've been talking about that also offline. Is both of us have ADD, and people with ADD are highly receptive to energy, right? So I feel good energy, I feel bad energy, but for some reason, I feel it on forehand. I don't know why.
Yeah, that's interesting. I definitely mirror or reflect a lot of the time what
you
who
actually
I'm
have
with.
it too, because you
Yeah.
dream about it. You had a dream about your dad, right? So
Yeah,
that's basically an omen.
Sure, yeah. But I mean, on a just like a day-to-day basis, I don't get that. I do more of like really being able to feel and capture the energy of the person that I'm with. Like I can pretty
Yeah.
much know who a person is and their traits or characteristics within, you know, really fast. Probably
Yeah, I
just
think
within
we've
the first few words they say.
yeah, I think we've talked about this before too. It's you're a good judge of character. You can read some people's intentions. It's not the words out of their mouths. It's the energy they transfer to you, and you know whether it's good or bad, right?
Yeah, I play with rhythm basically, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like if you watch my interviews, you can probably tell that where there's like I'm trying, I don't always do it well, but I'm trying to maintain a rhythm with the right amount of space and all that kind of stuff throughout it, you know.
Yeah, you have a very slow but very comfortable pace of doing your interviews. You're very funny, but then again, you
Sometimes.
also, but then you do the switcheroo, and then you ask a real question.
The switcheroo, yeah. Dude, seriously, that's hurt me a lot in life that I've had both of those aspects to me because I've been judged as goofy and not serious at all, when that's like some of the more, that is the more by far that's by far more of who I am, you know.
A serious,
Interesting.
a serious person, you mean, or
Yeah, like I love laughter, but the emotions in like the music and the reflectiveness and deepness and the therapy of it all is extremely powerful, you know. And so is laughter and comedy, but they all serve a different purpose, you know.
okay.
Just like people, like I have my process when I write my songs. It's the same as you, except when you do your videos, you know. And we both need each other to have that experience.
Well, I
You know?
think I need to share something with you. Look, you see me as a podcaster, but you can't read in my language what I write, but you can't also understand what I film as a filmmaker. But I have made a film about 5 years ago about the relationship with my father, and indirectly the relationship with his father. And it has English subtitles, so I would like you to see that. And I think
Cool.
then you will see maybe another side of me.
I can feel you, Max. Even though I haven't been around you, I can feel who you are. You know,
All right.
You're strong. You know, you're strong, and you want to be more vulnerable, and I think you should be at whatever pace you're comfortable with. Not something to force. And you have a big heart, and you're sweet, and you're caring, and you're loyal, and you know you say what you mean, and your actions back up what you say and what your kind of natural intent behind everything is. So,
Yeah, I
which
don't
is
like
great.
dishonesty. I hate dishonesty.
Yeah.
I hate it. It's something that
It,
actually
because
infuriates me.
you fear probably the flaws being exposed along with it, because you can't just see the good stuff all the time, and maybe you're not comfortable with that being out there, and that's, you don't have to do all that. You just do what you're comfortable with in the moment, you know. You
Look, yeah,
That's all. It's about because that's what makes other people feel it's okay, and that's what allows us to empathize with each other and realize that we all have our own struggles and our own pains every day. You know,
yeah.
and just because they're not yours doesn't mean they're not as impactful. You know.
I care about people, and whenever someone comes up to me and they feel like sharing something, I'm always open. And whenever someone I feel is deserving or whatever, I will help you in any way I can. Always, always. But for me, I struggle with a couple of things, and that is, you touched on the right thing. I struggle with vulnerability. I struggle with sharing really personal, painful stuff, and this is something that comes back in my life sometimes. You know, in maybe in relationships. In
Yeah.
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 So look. You have to imagine I'm the oldest of 10.
Mhm.
I have never been. I could never afford to be weak. I could never afford to be
That's
vulnerable.
yeah.
I have parents who were not parents. A parent who was addicted to drugs for the majority of my life.
Hmm.
I had to protect my brothers and sisters. You know, I was
Yeah.
the one they relied on. I had to fight battles for my brothers and sisters. On, but I started to talk Dutch to you. I'm sorry. Um, and this is when, you know, things get close to me. It's I forgot I was talking English to you. I just transferred to Dutch for a moment. But you know, for me, yeah, but I gotta admit to you, you know, I love to talk to people who are sharing, who are open, and I always want to help. But there, I need to learn how to express for me to ask for help or share something. It's a hard thing for me.
Yeah. No, because if you're not taken care of in that very sensitive moment the appropriate way by
Yeah.
who you're opening yourself up to, it's very traumatic and scarring,
Hmm.
and it makes it close up a little more, you know, because you don't want to deal with that, because that pain is real pain. It's not a cut that'll heal or a broken arm. And granted, there's physical things that, you know, are god awful, but emotional pain and mental pain is way overlooked, because it completely controls your behaviors and decisions you make and who you open up to, and how you run things, from your family to your relationships. All that stuff, you know, um, controls who you are. So being open and vulnerable is you can't do it all the time either. You know, you do have to learn how and when to do it, or you will just end up with your ass kicked. Like, I've had to go through that so many times of being vulnerable and not realizing that people will take advantage of that and just beat you down. And they can be pretty sneaky about it too, you know?
Yeah.
And you have to learn that happens. So, you know, you can know when is appropriate to allow yourself to really connect with someone like that, you know?
Thank you, Megan. I'm working on it. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you for your support.
You know, and that will happen. Like, I've had somebody I worked with long ago that actually shouted at me in the office, "Go see your fucking shrink."
Wow.
Because somehow he knew I saw a therapist, you know?
Asshole.
Like, that's what I mean about, like, you can be vulnerable, but you have to learn how to be vulnerable, or you'll just get that kind of those kind of attacks a lot, you know?
This is really funny. I'm in a battle at this moment. I can't elaborate it on online because for legal reasons. But this guy actually called me up, had this tirade, and he said, "Do you see a shrink? You should see a shrink." And I told him, "No, I don't. Do you?" And then he was kind of ambushed with my reply, and he said, yeah, I see a shrink." I said, "Continue."
Yeah.
But you know, whenever people scream at you, "See a shrink," it's probably projection.
Yeah, sure. You know, it's just hard when people take advantage of your vulnerability and
No, I know,
hit
but
you with those low
but if
blows and
that
stuff.
asshole for some reason found out you're working on yourself, because that's what it is.
Yeah. Well, he doesn't know who the fuck I was. You know, he was just trying to get off on his own high horse, and that made him feel better. And I realized that, you know, I don't get myself stuck in, well, why did he say that? I know that, like, he's just using that as a crux to be mean to someone, you know, because he needs to do that for whatever reason, you know.
Look, I think this is part of group dynamics, right? He probably said it in front of other people. He probably, you know,
I don't know.
What?
The guy's an idiot, anyways.
Look, if I were there, no, I'm not going to say that. Anyways, this guy, he is a predator. You know, he's probably a coward, a big coward, because he feels like he's backed up by others.
Oh, totally. I was out doing everyone in the office.
Yeah. So,
and they were a lot older than I was. So they hated me.
Yeah. I know how this works. These are predators, and they feel like they have the freedom to do this to you. And those people, to me, are the weakest in the room, because the strongest people are people actually like you, because you are different than the others. There's something they don't like about you, and it's probably something they crave. Some talent, some ability, a trade, a skill. And when you possess that creates group jealousy, especially when you work in an office, you know, with multiple people. And, you know, I know the dynamics. There's always one person that's the alpha male or the alpha female. They swarm around that person. They want to be loved by that person. They want to get the validation by that person. And there's always the one who's a little bit off grid. There's always the one who has like these talents, but also shows a little bit of vulnerability. And it's the vulnerability they prey on, you know?
Yeah. Oh, totally. Yep.
Yeah, that's what happens. Mm-hmm. But to me, that just means you have a pure soul, you know? Yeah. You're not poisoned by lack of talent. You're not poisoned by feeling you need the validation of a group to be a good person or to be functional in whatever you're doing. No.
So that's
So-
not true. Sometimes, like the validation, like I definitely realized I needed that. But was kind of rejecting that for a while. You know, it's like, no, I don't need validation. You know, because it's looked on as, why do you need that? What are you weak? You need validation. But no, people need it. People need you know what, you're doing a pretty good job, man. You know, people need
Yeah.
that.
Yeah,
And
of
there's
course you
nothing
need
wrong with
that.
that, you know.
No, not at
And-
all.
No, but it took me a while to figure that out. So, yeah.
Let me tell you about validation. Oh my God. I told you I made a film about the relationship I have with my dad and my grandfather. So this film was nationally broadcasted in the Netherlands. It actually went to our national film festival, but it was a very, very painfully open film because, you know, I told you my father was a drug addict.
Mhm.
And I followed my father around for 6 years. And, you know, we were talking about my childhood and whatever happened at that time. So my father, who might have his flaws, is actually a very loving man, and I love him very much. But, you know, he was traumatized by his father, who was the sole survivor of Auschwitz, the Holocaust.
Wow.
Yeah. So, you know, he fled into drugs because my grandfather wasn't emotionally available to him. But, you know, in a way, my father, with his shortcomings, is a very loving father whenever he's sober. Even when he's not sober, he's always very involved with me and my brothers and sisters. But the thing is, I don't even know where I was getting at with this. Yeah, I remember validation. So when I followed my father around because he was kind of loopy, he didn't even notice the camera in my hands, although I was kept on telling him, Dad, I'm making a documentary. There's a camera right here. People are going to see this. And I was showing very personal things. So at some point, the film was done, and my dad got to see the first version. And I'll give you a little teaser. The first scene starts with my father going to a pawn shop, selling a ring because he doesn't have any money, and he still has very young children because, you know, he has children with 4 wives, and Papa was a Rolling Stone. So I kick off the film with this opening scene. So my dad sees that opening scene and he looks at me like, what did you do? You know, and I was like, I told you, you know, I followed you with the camera into that pawn shop. You knew what I was doing, and we got into it, right?
Wow.
Yeah.
Did he get over it?
Look, he was so pissed. We got into a huge fight.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. But then I convinced him, you know, watch the rest of the movie. This is not like, I'm not presenting you the bill or something, you know, it's a very loving movie.
Yeah.
Just watch the rest of the movie.
Mhm.
And he watched it, and you know, he saw what I did, and he was actually quite happy with it.
Good.
But then I was like, oh, fuck me. The world is going to see this now. So then we had like premiere night. It was on Dutch television.
Oh, wow.
And I remember telling my wife, I'm not going to watch. Not going to watch. And she was like, no, you've been working on this for 6 years. You're going to watch it. And, you know, I'm not going to allow you to not watch your television premiere.
Yeah.
And I was just like, oh, like, fuck me. So I watched it, but because in my mind, I was like, oh my God, you know, I did open up, like literally, I let people look into my pants right now. This might go in a good direction or in a really bad direction.
Oh yeah.
But what then happened, I can only describe as sheer magic. Like, I I already had a Twitter account with about 100 followers, and I just saw, like, as the movie was going, I saw it like in a 30s movie, like like that. And then Facebook, the same thing: friend request, friend request, friend request, and then WhatsApp went bam, 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 and then and my phone overheated, and it was crazy. I was trending in Holland that night on Twitter. So validation came.
Yeah,
and
you get rewarded for putting yourself out there sometimes, you know.
Yeah, and this was extremely vulnerable what I did, and it really hit me what I was doing when actually the point was there, when I had to show it to people, and I was like, oh, what did I do? No, it was like, people should not see this.
That's scary. You know? That's scary. You know, that's probably why we get along, because I have the same, like, go through the same emotional process. You know, for releasing a big album, I put a lot of work into, or whatever, and you know, I have a concert, and I'm just staring at the door, like, okay, it's 8 o'clock. There's only, you know, such and such here, you know, and then by the end of the night, though, you know, the place is packed. Everybody's beautiful, looking great. Everybody loves everything, you know. And you go home with a warm heart and a smile on your face, you know, and then the day after happens.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like, now what?
Yeah. I know the feeling. But I have a prognosis. I have a glass sphere. I can see the future.
Oh boy.
Yeah, and I see you being very successful with everything you do, and the music. It's actually the music that is gonna make you big.
Yeah, I have no expectations.
That's fine. I'm just gonna submit your stuff to my cousin, and we'll see.
Said that to myself, and people have said that to me this whole career. Like, I don't have expectations. I do it for why I said I do it.
Look, man. I'm not some dodgy Jewish manager.
Yeah, so you're gonna get somewhere. You just gotta get over here.
I'm gonna make you big. I'm gonna make
Come
you
to this
huge.
smoke shop and sign the contract. You like psilocybin in your lunch, don't you?
Yeah. Come on, boy chick. Gonna make you so big.
All right. Do you mind if I get out of here? I gotta feed my dogs, and I'm tired as crap.
No, you're not allowed. No, that's fine, dude.
Okay, I appreciate it. Because I made that song that was kind of emotional, and then I told my story, and now I'm like, what the hell?
All right. To all the viewers, you guys are my warriors. I love you. Thank you for watching us. Thank you, Sean, for sharing your incredible story again.
Yeah, no problem, man.
And let's not forget Pricilla. I love that girl. She is so incredibly open, different, open-minded, and just a sweetheart. And of course, my brother Vinnie, who's always there.
Check her out, Quantum Witch on Instagram, isn't it? Right?
Quantum Witch on Instagram. She's also on what's the app? God damn it.
Facebook?
No,
Twitter?
Clubhouse. Yeah. Check
I
her out on
just got
Clubhouse and YouTube. So on that note, Daddy's gonna go to sleep. See you later, Sean.
Adios, amigo.
Thank you for a great talk, man. Bye-bye.
Thank you. And it's just me and you. Why does Max always just leave me here, huh? I guess it's up to me to end the show again. All right. Well, then I'm going to promote myself. On Monday, you should go to the Witness Citizen UAP channel. Actually, you should go there now. Hit subscribe. Share it with your friends. All that stuff. You can. Oh, see ya. I gotta go.
Haha. Busted. Bye, guys.